his resolution to work out. All right, baby. We'll do it live. We'll do it live, baby. Well, Sam, mate, put down your cricket bat, pack away your beach towel, because the summer is over, buddy. We're not watching cricket in Sri Lanka anymore, mate. How do we know that? Because the footy's back, Sam. The footy's back. It's over in Vegas. Supercoach is back. How do we know Supercoach is back? Because we've seen some good things. We've seen some bad things. And it just begs the question, when is this game ever good?
Mate, the game is always this good, and God, it feels good to be back. Mate,
we are back.
Absolutely love it. It's been a long summer of discontent over here in the Truth Tower, mate, and I'm just glad to be back here watching the boys go around for another beautiful season. Mate, how do you feel after today?
It was just good to feel something. You know, it's been a while. It's been a numb summer, or at least a numb late summer, watching the Aussies put on 5,000 runs over at the Gaul Basin. But happy to be back, mate. Would like to quickly introduce our sponsor for the year, the sponsor that is willing to put up 2K to the Chop Gibberer, the winner of the Gibberers Cup. That's something we'll have to look into, obviously, that kind of hardware. But the sponsor for the year, Sam, a company you may know well, or may have crossed your desk, Better Call Solar. #1 in the land. Look them up. Check the Google reviews. You may even see Shocko's name shouted out a couple of times, guys. With that aside, Sam, all over to you, mate. Hit the theme music, buddy.
Mate, I've got a pearler for us here today.
Yeah. We can't hear it.
Mate.
Can't hear shit.
I don't know if it was just me today, mate. I don't know if it was just me, but I tell you what, Big Red gave me chills up my spine. So in honor of him, mate, we've gone with Kane, the Big Red Machine, as a bit of theme music for today's show. Forget Kane, hailing out of a mayor as in Arizona somewhere. Mate, I think we saw the future mayor of Deakin, the Big Red Machine, Corey Horsburgh today. What are your thoughts?
Lovely thoughts. There's a reason why the Big Red Machine is our first talking point. He looked bloody good, didn't he, mate? You know, he looked like that weekend away in Queanbeyan with Sticky over the off season. You know, it was obviously a steamy one. I've got the stat down here that he played 59 minutes. If we flick over to the stats here, guys, we see Corey Horsburgh 62. I think you'll find that was pretty much all in base. Maybe 3 offloads kind of thrown in for your troubles there on a Sunday arvo. Where are we here? Yeah, mate, he looked awesome, didn't he? You know, he looked fit. He looked fired up. He looked fiery. I wasn't just talking about the red hair.
Mate, I tell you what, he had a point to prove after whatever's happened in Canberra last year. The mail close to Christmas time he was all but done and dusted to the Dragons. But looks like maybe Sticks had a conversation with him headed into Christmas. They've reset wherever they are, and mate, I'd say that was probably the most complete performance in Vegas today. That I watched just out of him. I don't think there's much more he could have done. Look, a couple of ineffective offloads to go with those 3 effective ones for sure. But mate, loved what I saw. What did you make of it all?
Well, listen, he's only in about 100% of teams, so we're not all necessarily eating, but probably more just to the point that I can't really see him leaving that front row spot most of the year, right? Like you'll take it 55, a bloke who can do 55 and 60 to partner Team A all year, couldn't you? I don't see myself really moving him on if he keeps that kind of stuff. I don't really see myself searching too far and wide for a third front rower if that continues, right? I mean, maybe obviously AFB's got that upside as we saw in the last game, and we'll get to him. Don't you worry, dribblers or gibberers, should I say? But yeah, very happy with Horse. If we look through the rest of the scores there, look, not a lot of massive efforts today. There was there, V. Obviously Savage goes over for a double. Sebastian Chris, double. Tamale, fantastic. Thoughts on him?
Yeah, mate. I mean, look, Tamale, he was one of my lock-ins, for most of it, probably up until all of 4 or 5 days ago. And, I just heard the name Albert Hopewadi. I felt like he had something over his shoulder. And I tell you what, the way he played today, it looked like he knew he had someone hovering over his shoulder too. He was running as hard as he could and not looking back. That's for sure. Mate, really, really good performance from him. It was great to see. Obviously, a bit of competition there. Unfortunately, I was a proud KO Weeks owner and further to that player. I played him this round. So, look, I've got a few of my own demons to sort out tonight. That'll be one of them. But mate, yeah, look, I thought all of Canberra's backs looked pretty good today. Love to see how they probably progress and get KO involved a bit more. But mate, yeah, like those outside backs, Savage with a double, beautiful. Tamale, obviously, a lot of you will have him as a cheapie, and there's plenty of upside there if he can get the game time and get 5-6 games out.
Yeah, look, if anything else with Tamale, if Hopewadi does come back in, which it seems like it's going to happen, he's the incumbent. I don't know how deeply Sticky looks at base power stats, but there was 52 of them, and I'm liking what I'm seeing out of him. But, at the very least, Socko, like we know that Tamale is going to be there as a solid downgrade option, which makes me feel safe. That's for sure. Matty Timoko, one of the boys in the Dribblers chat, the Gibberers chat. Shout out to you, Bailey. He actually had the VC on Matty Timoko today, who was robbed of a try assist. So unlucky to you, Bales, but respect respect you doing it for the chat, mate. That was fantastic. Yeah, also really like the look of Zach Hosking. He's obviously someone that we'd both spoken about during the week, not even to each other, just to random cunts on the street. But
wherever they let me put my milk crate, mate, I will tell the people about Zach Hosking.
Big time. 66 minutes today, 62 points, 63 rather, including a line break try. You're an owner?
Yeah, mate, absolutely. My only regret was I was like, I'm not playing 3 Canberra players today, and he was the one to miss out. But mate, yeah, like he looked great.
What do you mean? Hang on,
mate. I didn't play him.
Slow down a little bit.
Oh, mate, hold on.
He missed out.
he missed the 17, mate. He did not make the cut, unfortunately.
Bizarre scenes. That's kind of you don't get to eat dinner kind of territory, that kind of stuff. But yeah, 66 minutes for Hosking. Thought he looked good. Again, would probably like to see a couple more weeks of it before bringing him in personally, but didn't look like he'd really missed a beat. When he's paying 80, we know what he can do.
Mate, I think just touching on that, mate, if he can string enough games together, he's an awesome keeper again. Kind of fills that same role as Horsburgh, right? You probably don't necessarily need to have him leave the team till maybe later on in the piece. He seems to have that work rate. I guess the question with him is always just going to be, can he stay fit? Can he get 20, 25 games out this year?
Yeah, big time. Really like what I saw from Canberra. They looked tough. They looked tough in the trials, tough in Vegas. Onto the Waz, that's our second. We kind of jumped around here, but the Luke Metcalf experience. Talk to me, V. Look, we've both ridden the Metcalf train before in prior seasons, but what do you make of that as an owner of Metcalf today? I mean, what do you want to say to those who, I guess, have owned him for the first time today and they've seen him dish up, well, less than basically an HIA score of 6? What do you want to say to them? Do they stay patient? Is this something that they could expect more of? What didn't you like about Metcalf today?
Mate, I suppose for me, Metcalf, like, he got gun shy, right? It kind of happened around that point where he threw that intercept to Savage. You kind of seen him, like, early on for me, watching Metcalf, it looked like he had too many options running through his head. Swinging to that sort of left-hand side there. a number of times early in the game. And then I feel like he kind of dropped his head after that. He chucks that intercept, then like he gets that shot at goal. Canberra jag one just before halftime there, obviously. Misses. And then he just sort of had a really quiet game for the rest of the game. And he is a rocks or diamonds, Supercoach wise, mate. I think you've put it best previously where, the Lumet experience is a 20 followed by an 80. And look, he will do that throughout the season. He will have games like today where, he's not the hot hand and he takes a back seat, to borrow some basketball terminology. And he kind of shies away from taking those shots. But conversely, there's going to be, whether it's a week or 3 weeks away, he'll put up a 120, 130, and he'll, have 3 try assists, 2 go over for 2 himself, and just absolutely brain it. So, mate, one that's par for the course. It probably wouldn't be playing him next week for those of you that did play him this week. If you've got another option at 5'8", I know I probably am unlikely to play him next week. Just want to see a bit more out of him, but it's definitely not a panic station. It's one where I think he'll learn from it. I think we saw that in the trials, right? That first week, it was an abomination. The Wires played. The next week, they kind of worked out how to use Metcalf a bit better, and they pounded the Storm. So I think that's probably a sign of what's to come. Over the next couple of weeks is a bit of an adjustment, and then how do we use this? How do we pair him with CHT or Tamari, and then it'll sort of all come together from there. What did you think?
It's not panic stations, mate. He got 6. He got 6, V. He got 6 and he's priced at 48. What do you mean it's not panic stations? I'm not going to sleep tonight thinking about what to do with it. I come to you for guidance, my friend. Instead, you say,
well, mate, you've come to someone who had his 5'8" do 6. Mate, you've come to someone who's had his 5'8" do 6 and 21 today, respectfully. So, mate, don't talk to me about the number 6, right? Because clearly, I think there's some gibberers with some better ideas than me.
Listen, it's going to have to be another white knuckle ride next week and see what happens. I mean, I think that kind of goes for any player that shits the bed this week. You got to have another look at them, guys. You got to kind of repay the preseason faith that you had, and you got to live with it. So, who do they play next week? Manly, I believe, actually, the Wires.
Yeah, isn't it? It's at home, I think.
It is back at home. That just reeks of a Tommy Turbo clinic, doesn't it? I mean, that left side of the Wires with Pompey today got absolutely rinsed apart. Ethan Strange, 3 try assists there on the left. Do you see Turbo probably being in danger of breaking his own record next week?
Well, mate, let's get through round 1 first. Let's get through next Sunday at Brookie before we make that call.
You're right. RTS, you're an owner, right?
Not an owner, mate. Have been in the past. Like the look of him coming back to the league last year. Flirted with him. Maybe even went for a dance with him for a few rounds. Unfortunately, mate, didn't eventuate into anything for me, and I've given him the hard pass this year. But, mate, yeah, look, I'd be keen to get your thoughts on what you saw today on him.
Look, it's good base. I think you're looking at around that high 30s base. Obviously, line break try at the end to kind of save his score in a way. But, yeah, probably unlucky not to get a couple more, actually. I think he dropped the ball over the line at one point, and then, in a real kick in the ribs for owners, they finally do get an overlap on the left, and it goes out to Capewell on that wing spot instead of him. So for him to still, burgle a 65 after all that, it's pretty good. You'll take that. I mean, it's priced at 57. I do kind of wonder what the end game is with RTS. Like, he's famous last words, but is he going to score a try every week? He's not. He's kind of awkwardly priced around that high 50s. So don't love it, but owners sleep easy tonight knowing that he was a top scorer in the team, and a team that got absolutely pumped at the same time as well. It's always,
yeah, look, I mean, mate, I think RTS provides, like, look, you're always going to get someone who's going to, carry and run hard out of his own end, and probably get you 10 meters per carry, get you 2 points there each carry.
Yeah.
I just as you said, being that sort of almost near 60 base price, 60 price. I'm kind of sitting there going, look, do I have the faith in the Warriors to deliver points through that channel every week? Probably less so. I'd probably look to more like someone like whether it's one of the Sharks wingers, Stone Street, something like that. I feel like there's probably more upside in having someone there. So, mate, for that reason, I've given RTS the early season miss, and I don't see him in my team this year. But look, stranger things have happened, right?
Yeah, big time. Even last night, stranger things have happened. But that's another podcast. Yeah, a question from a Gibberer here, kind of alluding to our Corey Horsburgh point. This comes from Shane. Shout out to you, Shano. He asked you, Sam, will Sticky and Horse visit the Chapel Strip in Vegas tonight?
Mate, I think Sticky's taking Horse wherever he wants to go tonight after that performance, to be honest.
No.
The man's in Julius Caesar's penthouse with the finest ladies of the night, I think, tonight. Horsburgh is waking up with a smile and a headache tomorrow morning, that's for sure.
Well, he's earned it. A couple other ones I thought were good to have a bit of a look at there. Tommy Starling, solid. There's a stat out there that we looked at in January and forgot about it, that when Starling plays more than 60 minutes, he averages 62. I've got him down for 63 minutes today, and, well, guess what, V? He scored more than 62. He scored 68. What did you make of his performance? Really solid through the middle, bit of running game. Is he an option for you? Are you going to move off Mamazelis up to Starling at some point if you don't like what you see with Peter?
Look, Starling's a great player. For me, he's a bit of a downhill runner. And by that, I mean, look, he'll get his 60-plus minutes when Canberra's going good, getting over the top, winning the battle in the pack there. I feel like you're more likely to see him get those lower minutes when they're playing tougher opposition. If it was just always consistently going to be 60 and, Paddy getting 20 and that was that, regardless of what was happening, I'd definitely look into him at that point. I think the fact you've got Paddy there, obviously Danny Levi, who for me is a never again, but for some of you gibberers out there, you might have, had an idea of taking him to the big dance this year. Mate, yeah, look, I think for me, Tom Starling is great when the Canberra pack's going great, but it just feels like he's not going to have the minutes there. He seems to get really gassed when he gets worked over by a pack that's on top of Canberra's. And for that reason, look, yeah, given Raiders running two hookers on the bench, running a hooker on the bench, two hooker strategy, I can't see myself. But, look, I loved watching them today. I think the whole team, but particularly that forward pack really set the tone. There was some back and forth between the two packs probably for the first 20, but then Canberra just got on top and it was all over from there.
Yeah, they ran over the top of them and bullied them. Even though the Wars have got Fish, they've got Barnett, all these kind of guys, Walker, Clark, they weren't in the fight against Tarpanay and co, were they? Another question comes from a Gibberer, this time from Keith McDonald. How are you, Keithy? He asks, Sam, is Metcalf set and forget?
I'm definitely not set and forget. I mean, mate, if he dishes up another 2 sixes, look, there will be a conversation had with Lou Met. I think for me, this early on, I think the Warriors are still forming their combos. I'd probably ride a price drop in round 3 if things weren't going great, with a view to look at okay, they're going to perform all right in round 4. Mate, if he drops 100K by round 5, yeah, look, you either ride him to the basement and then hopefully back to the penthouse, or you make a tough call there. For me, I'll probably hold until round 4 or 5 regardless, just because I have had this experience before. I have done the rage trade where he goes for 16 in 80 minutes and I trade him out, and the next week he comes back and pulls 96 out of nowhere. So this year I'm keeping the faith. I'm becoming more of a man of spirituality, and I'll keep the faith in Lou, man.
Right. You're trying to get closer to God, eh? For me, with Lumet, for me, he's got to turn up next week or he's packing his bags, mate. I can't have people losing cash at the start of the season. You know, and he's pumped single digits. His break even, if he doesn't turn up next week, is going to be, well, it's going to be astronomical. You know, it's going to be like my tax bill, and we can't be having that in the Supercoach world. So yeah, he turns up, or I'm forgetting about him, Keith, if that's what you're asking, mate. James Hughes, shout out to James Hughes, a great gibberer. He says the whole Warriors team is dead to me. I can probably see why. James Watson says, "Hey Siri, buy grand final tickets." Guessing he's probably not a Waz fan, but really good from you there, James. I hope you do get the grand final tickets, mate. Bailey Hughes, he simply says Matt Timoko. And I don't blame him because he was on him today. He looked good. He's probably robbed of a ton. But that kind of does it on the first game there. Anything else you maybe want to add? I mean, I thought Dimitri looked good off the bench. He only played 15 minutes, but showed he's got a pretty Supercoach friendly game. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like that the minutes are going to be there, at least not early. So I'll personally be having a bit of a look under the hood of get ready for it. Jack Goz, doesn't sound great to say out loud. Probably doesn't sound great to hear, but it does look like it's going to have to happen if Dimitri doesn't get the minutes. Owen Paddy off the bench. Limited time. Looks like Harry Grant. I won't hear anything else, but that's obviously going to be Starling's jersey for a while. KO Weeks, 27. What's your strategy tonight to get over KO Weeks?
Mate, probably go back and watch that that highlight reel where he went 100 meters in the trials, right? And just tell myself it'll all be okay. And you know what? Like, I think, being thankful for the good things in the world, right? The good things that have happened today. For those of you that maybe, looking at Lou Med and going, what happened there? Just be thankful you didn't fall for the Aaron Clark trap pick. It's been called out a number of times in the Gibberers. What do you think of Aaron Clark? It's been called out a number of times. It's an absolute trap. So provided you didn't go with Aaron Clark, you've actually made a good decision. Otherwise, you could be sitting there looking at 2 horror stories instead of 1. So for me, mate, I'm just going to be thankful that, I suppose, like, that was obviously a pick that, a few people go, oh, well, what about Aaron Clark moving to the Waz? What's going on there? And I think you and I have had this conversation a few times that, just the minutes, like, in that pack, probably for the same reason that you're kind of going, Vimarga out, is like, look, Vimarga, if by some miracle he managed to get a start on an edge, would be like, first pick. But I think just with that minute share that's going on in the Warriors pack, it looks like they're going, there's obviously large minutes there that Barnett can play. Fish, again, it's not like they're going to be shortening his minutes anytime soon. I just think there's too much of a logjam for a lot of those Waz forwards to crack my team. I know you're a Mitch Barnett, you're a fanatic, I would almost say, of Mitch Barnett. But it's just unpickable at the moment with the situation going on over there.
Yeah, Clark and Walker kind of ate into each other too much. Fisher Harris, 46 minutes today for 57 points. That ain't something. That ain't nothing, I should say. But yeah, I mean, look, just based on that performance today by the Wires, and we'll move on after this point, V. You got to really have a if you're owning Ali Lawatia, again, you got to give him another week, guys, for sure. But if it doesn't look good next week, like those kind of attacking weapons like him, your CNKs, your Tua Snickies, Roger to a lesser extent, I mean, his base is a lot higher. Then obviously Metcalf. They're all a big watch next week. And if it's anything like what we saw today, I dare say you're going to find 3 Warriors players, or at least just any Warriors players, at the top of the traded out list as we go into round 3. So moving on to the second game, and it was a good bloody game of footy, wasn't it?
Mate.
We had a couple of top 4 sides swinging for the fences, leaving nothing out on the field. What were your general thoughts there, mate? A bit of a slobber, to use a JR expression. That was a bit of a slobber knocker.
Oh, mate, I'm going to say something. You and I had a phone call last night, right? We had a conversation about how today's game would go. we both called a close result. You were kind of on that 8-0 kind of end.
Well,
I was on
I cut you off there. It was almost like the federal election in the US, Florida. Just a bit too close to call. Just had to sneak that one in. You go,
mate. For me, I'd sort of sat there thinking that it was going to be a 30-24 scoreline, and the game did not disappoint. Absolutely went down to the wire. Great stuff. I think we've seen why AFB is such a big pickup for Cronulla, and I think with obviously Nath, the show rolls on, right? Jerome goes, let's keep this show going, guys. We got Isaiah, we got Edwards, we got Nath. Let's just keep it playing. Supercoach relevant wise, mate. Like, look, obviously, like Nath was probably a bit hard done by with how many try contributions he had today instead of assists.
3 try contributions. When do you ever see that?
Yeah, like
I think he will be updated on one of them. He threw like a nice right to left face ball that Cole kind of just tipped on. So, keep an eye out for that one. Thanks to fans. But I mean, he really came into his own in that second half, didn't he? Especially at the start, you saw him popping up either side of the ruck, really kind of putting his goat status on the line and just saying, "Give me the ball, I'll get you boys where you need to be." And then you just have Edwards and Yo kind of fanning off him off the back of that, don't you? So you'll take a 63. I mean, they score 28 points every week. He's probably not getting 63 a lot, is he? I mean, that's unders for what they did. Lindsay Smith, 71, all in base, I reckon. He looked awesome, didn't he? Hot take, but is he better than James? Is he a better player than James Fisher-Harris? What do you reckon?
Mate, I mean, probably Supercoach-wise, yeah. Like, I mean, taking into that, I'm not looking at the stats right in front of me now, but I know there was, offload that went awry out the back from Lindsay Smith there, on the attack in that Cronulla zone. So, I don't know if they're taking points off him at the same time, but fuck, he looked good. I was happy watching him there, and I thought that he's probably got the opportunity to, get some more minutes out of him, I suppose, in the starting rotation, right? He seems like kind of he's got that bigger motor on him potentially. So, mate, yeah, I love what I saw there. I'd be having a close look if he does that again next week.
Well, I'm here to tell you he will. He's the perfect kind of bloke to play 55 through the middle. The numbers last year, when he played over 50 minutes, he averaged 61. He's currently priced at 52. Do you bring in a front rower that is 100K unders? Is that something you'd entertain at all? I mean, may exist. We've already talked about the big red machine. Will you find a way to get Lindsay Smith in when you see this again next week?
Probably not. My plan is to, if I'm going to bring anyone into the row, it'll be Tino, in round 3, to try and hopefully get a prize rise there. But mate, if Tino's not playing well, then sure, absolutely. I just think there's probably other things that you want to attend to first, especially things like Metcalf horror shows, et cetera, if that keeps rolling on, as we kind of referred to or you alluded to earlier. So, look, I'm probably not going to bring in Lindsay Smith this early, but look, it all depends on what he does next week. And, what other things go wrong? What other nightmares we have to endure at the end of round 2?
Yeah, let's not even get into that.
Let's try and focus on the good things here.
yeah. Let's go back to talking about Horsburgh at a strip club tonight.
Nathan Cleary. Rhino is pretty good idea, Corey.
Happy with Cleary's performance overall. I mean, again, as we said, guys, like he's not going to score 63 when they put on 5 tries many weeks. And again, it's probably due a little update there. So very happy with that. Next guy on our list here is none other than the man with the wettest hair in rugby league, Nicho Hinds, a bloke that we both do not own, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I think... No, mate, no. Like, losing the goal kicking, if you're stacking him versus Nath, I think there's 2 good, cheapy halve options probably in the form of Humphreys and Duffy at this point for you to make a bit of cash there. I think for me, Trindle's taking more of a role. I think we saw that tonight too. It probably, Cronulla's side feels a lot more 50-50 in that sense. And I think for me, Nicho losing that goal kicking, that's probably an extra, potentially an extra 20 points every game that you're in upside that you're losing off Nicho.
20? Fucking hell, how many bloody tries are they going to score, mate?
Oh, mate. Cronulla have had some big hauls last year, mate. Like those games where Nicho's gone large, Cronulla's gone large too. It's not like he's doing 100. It's not like he's doing 120 and they're winning 18-6, right?
Yeah, they got bigger hauls than Instagram influencer,
So
mate.
Like,
just on the kicking, just on the kicking, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Why wasn't he kicking today? Well, he's got a hip flexor, and this is per Cheese of Vizio fame. Shout out to you, Cheese. The hip flexor is the worst injury for a goal kicker. Hopefully, just short term. Nicho is a better kicker. Honestly, wouldn't be surprised if we don't see him kick for a while if this is the issue, if that is the issue. The range of motion from goal kicking can easily damage it again. That's semi-worrying to read from a bloke in the know. Look, Nicho's average against Penrith going in today was low 40s. He's pumped out 48, including a try assist, line break assist. Are you worried if you're a Nicho owner, or are you just kind of writing that off to, hey, he was playing his kryptonite, and it was round one, and it's going to look clunky, and you have faith that you play the Cows and Souths the next couple of weeks? What would you say to Nicho owners?
Mate, I think that hip flexor injury news is probably the most concerning. Like round one performance, like backlines aren't in sync. There's going to be drop balls. There's going to be missed opportunities, which, missed try assists for a half like Nicho. You'd wear kind of what your gun half is going to do regardless in round one. There's other factors aside from him. For me, I think the big issue that I have is look, if his hip flexor is cooked, is he going to be, that same threat ball running? Is he going to be, a little bit more gun shy? I think I would be concerned if I had him, especially with that injury news, probably doubly so than anything I saw stats wise from him today. You did mention there's two very favorable matchups coming up. So look, at this point, you'd at least suck it and see for round two. But look, you wouldn't want to be losing the cash there and not have Cleary. If you don't already have Cleary, I think you'd be looking to make that swap before round three.
Listen, I thought he moved all right, Hinds. He's looking to run the ball. He was looking to run the ball in the trial as well. But again, like we kind of spoke on the Wednesday pod a couple of weeks ago, just concerned by the fact that he's not spamming touches either side of the ruck. Again, they're running pretty clear left-right shape with Trindle on the left and Nicho on the right with Gibberer and friends. There was actually a time in the early part of the second half where Nicho was actually either side of the post. He was everywhere, and I'll tell you what, as a non-owner, I was on my feet actually, just pacing around the old living room there. He's one of the hardest watches ever, especially given the fact they kept getting ball in the red zone. But yeah, he was popping up all over the shop. But yeah, look, put it this way. I don't. If that continued for 80 minutes, then I'm moving anybody not named Cleary or Turbo to get him in, to be honest. But given that shape, given there's not he's going to get into kicking for a while, which does take 10 to 12 points off his average, if not even 30, like you said. It's a tough sell. It's going to be tough to justify bringing him in from urgently, right? So he wasn't really both sides of the ball. Cleary certainly was. He was popping up everywhere, getting a lot of try contributions, guys. Not necessarily being the sweeper or getting the last touch, but yeah, he did. He just looked like he picked up his bat and ball from the grand final last year and just went straight to Vegas, didn't he?
Oh, mate, Nate had an I'm him performance today.
Yep.
Like what more do you say? Like it was just 15 minutes to go in that second half, and he just turned it on. It was just like, yep, all right, go time, and didn't look back. I don't like, there was that point in that second half. He stayed down. I think he might have been searching for a rib or two that may have gone missing, mate. And then he's just come back and like nothing sweats him. Chuck Liddell. Sorry, mate, you've lost the mantra. Nathan's the new Iceman.
Yeah, his ribs went missing like Matty McCann. Casey McLean 3. That's rough for owners. I'd imagine quite a lot of people would have had Casey McLean and Luke Metcalf today. Metcalf almost scoring worse than McLean, but yeah, that's the benefit of the flex. I guess you can eat one of those scores a week. That's, I guess, the blessing in disguise, the rule. But very tough times for those that own the both of them. But boys, girls, if one of those that was you, listen, it's round 1, doesn't matter. You got your bad luck out of the way now. It's all up from here. Sam Stone Street 33, you're an owner. What did you think? That included a line break as well.
Yeah, mate, that was probably slightly concerning. The base there, like really, what's that? 28 in base, right?
23.
Felt, look, it looked like Cronulla were favouring that right-hand side too, where he was parked. But I think sometimes playing outside,
the ball didn't get past.
Sorry, what was that?
Yeah, it didn't get past Ramian, did it? It just, the ball didn't get past Ramian.
Yeah, like look, it's Ramian's kind of got that like, I'm going to do this, so I'm going to get this, and you love to see that energy and dog in a player. Like I'd call it like the dog in them. Like get over the top, like take those hard carries. But sometimes that's going to hurt your players outside them. I know, look, his last 5 games prior to this, his last 5 starts last year, game 5, 1 try, game 4, 1 try, and then he went doubles to finish out the year. So, look, I'm not panicking yet, but I think I'd need to see more of him next week. Otherwise, for me, it's look, I've got about 135K sitting in the kitty, so it's either an Osako or a straight swap to Marzu for me. Pending performance week 2.
Yeah, I mean, again, who do they play? I believe it's the Cows, right?
Yeah.
So he'll be on the right wing, which means he'll be running at Burns and Valamai. So that's, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen then. Then you parlay that into Ty Munro and friends the week after. So yeah, I think you got to hold strong if you're a Stone Street owner and just hope that Ramian takes the glue off his hands.
Yeah, look, I think for me, watching him today, there's that upside, right? You saw that line break, you saw him do the good stuff. He's just going to need to see more of it. I mean, he's priced under what he was last year. Like his season average was 65, so I think he's priced about 150K under that. So we'll see what happens.
A couple other really solid performances before we finish here today. Isaiah Yeo doing Isaiah Yeo things, 90, including a line break try. He was massive. I don't think anyone watching this will be shocked by the fact that Isaiah Yeo was looking good in round 1. I mean, is he the GOAT lock of all time already? What do you think? I mean, he just seems to always make the right decision, doesn't he? He knows when to run, knows when to pass, barely misses any tackles through the middle. He can identify a tired defender like he did with AFB when he scored that try. I mean, geez, that was pretty impressive. AFB gets his token try for a new club. Again, shocked me. He looked fantastic. He looked up for the fight as well, which will please a lot of owners. And the other guy I thought was good today was Blake Brayley. 57, I believe, is priced at 52, but 56 of that was in tackles. Doesn't look like he's going to get the try assist or even try contribution for the AFB effort. So that sucks. But thought he looked good. He's probably unders what it is. So that's it. Anything else you want to maybe add on that game, man? I think we've touched most of these points. Nicho, Brayley, anything else that caught your eye?
Mate, I think it's just like, look, how good is that Penrith machine, right? You touched on Isaiah Yeo, potentially the GOAT lock of all time. Mate, you're a Supercoach veteran, and I say that with all due respect. I think your first go-round might have been one Sean Fenson, one Paul Gallen, and one Luke O'Donnell as your back row. I mean,
Frankie.
I know you've just thrown out that statement that he's a GOAT lock, but I tell you what, he's one of those ones that I felt like I really missed out on towards the back end of last year, picking up after that Origin period, after like when Ivan obviously is giving them restricted minutes or, not even playing them right, he became a really good option. I think both you and I sat there and lamented it, and it looks like with Yo, he's just going to pick back up where he left off. Dill Edwards, Mr. Reliable, like it didn't all go right for him today. There was a bit of hands like feet at different points, but like, God, he looks good doing it. I think that Penrith machine just rolls on, and I think there's plenty of good picks to have there, and at least targets for you guys to have towards the middle and later parts of the season out of that side.
Yeah, the Yo one was interesting because he averaged 81 without Nath last year and then 70 with him. So the thought going into this year is maybe he was a little bit overs given the old inflation, not to be confused with the cost of groceries, obviously. But yeah, I mean, without Luai there, is he going to be asked to step up even more? I mean, he loves a touch already, doesn't he? But even that try he scored there, he's just thought, fuck it, give me the ball. I'll be the senior player in this effort, this pack, and I'll go over. So maybe that 80 average without Nath last year is the new norm because Cole or Blaze isn't exactly going to overcall Yo, are they?
No, well, look, Yo plays that first receiver role for Penrith anyway, right? Like that's where he sits in that attacking structure. And look, I imagine Ivan would be looking at him more to create him and Nath to shoulder the load as they bring another young kid through and into the system. Really take the pressure off there. So I think if Penrith's scoring well this year, and look, I've called it that I feel like Penrith is going to be less of the defensive machine this year, but more of the, we're just going to score 24 and, we might concede 16, 18 a game, but like good luck getting us at 24. And I think there will be that reasonably high upside from their attack this year. That's how I feel they're going to play. So, just while they readjust. I thought Luke Garner did a really admirable job in the centres. I don't know if you've had a look at his numbers. Were they any chop today?
Yeah, 73. Didn't score a try. He did get credited for a try assist, LBA, and a line break as well. So there's a bit of attack there, but it's more than respectful.
Was he priced at?
Gardner, he's not an option anyway, mate. I mean, looks like IPAP done his jaw something today, so you'd think shifts. But Garner was at centre because of who was injured.
Circumstance.
Yeah, Toto's out, so they put Alamotti onto the sting. McLean goes out. They bring in Laurie. Hated watching that as well, by the way. Dane Laurie putting on what was it? Just making his price go up before we inevitably get him in around Origin. Unfortunately, probably have to pay full freight. I was very disappointed to see McLean go off, obviously, because that hurts a lot of people that were on him. But equally as disappointed to see Laurie go on because that hurts me, and terrible watching him score 2 tries as well. That was rough, man. Lindsay Smith, man, I can't take my eyes off this. It was 71 all in base.
Are you thinking of picking him up? Like, okay? Let me throw it back to you, right? You asked me the question. Do I take him in? 100K unders, like 150K unders. Are you taking him in? Do you give him a home?
Well, what I'm going to do, mate, is, when we finish this stream, I'm going to put my microphone down. I'm going to turn my laptop off. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm just going to look at his numbers again. L. Smith 71. How do I feel about it? Can it be replicated? Does it make me hungry? Am I fasting? These are things I'll consider, and then probably come home, turn the salt lamps on, have a bath, and make a call on it there. But also be good to watch, the rest of the other 6 games in round 1 and see T-May do 85 without a try as well. I mean, if I switch over to my team here, it'll just be about what would the route be to find or to get Smith in. I'll just take this off. What could I do? Well, obviously, going to be leaving Horsburgh for the time being. Currently got 60-odd K in the kitty. If something happens to Presto, that's an option. In terms of moving him up via Horsburgh, maybe I'll try and find the money off White to get up to Smith. I mean, seeing how that goes. But White's obviously unders. Probably not moving on Seyfarth. Yeah, I just think he's probably one of these guys I'm not able to work into. I mean, an option could be if Marju or Skelton shits the bed, trading them out via Lucas and via Horsburgh. Again, that's the benefit of having that little duel there, guys. It gives you that flexibility. But yeah, if you were to tell me like I'll be making a trade to a front rower who's a cash cow, I probably wouldn't believe you. So happy to sit and watch. Maybe a couple of drafts, and he'll be a good guy to punt on. That's for sure, based on what we saw today in terms of player performance, right? But yeah, me. What are you going to do with Metcalf? Who do you trade him for?
Oh, mate, funny you mentioned punting on. Did you have a little dalliance today for the viewers out there, Reese? Was there a little flutter on something?
We had a bit of a look. The first one was James Fisher-Harris unders, and he tickled the balls of unders. Let's be real, he didn't clear it massively. Then the second thing I had on was Hinds to make more tackles than Cole. Hinds made 23, which is plenty, and J. Cole, not to be confused with J. Cole, made 25. So I'll just
tough.
Yeah, that's an early L. Yourself?
Mate, yeah, look, I had Mitch Kenny to beat Blake Brayley. Checked that at about the 60th minute and didn't look back at the tackle count. But fair enough. Right, I felt like I was about to have a head injury assessment after looking at that. Mate, then my winner for the day, my nice little winner, went one from 2. On that second game would be Nath over 67.5 points.
Beautiful.
$2 was well priced, and I think he probably ended up somewhere in the 70s as per NRL stats. So, mate, yeah, really, really happy. Couldn't have asked for more out of that one. So, watch your space.
Cop that big time.
Mate, I'm just curious. So, look, I know. Obviously, we don't have all night, and people probably have, families, any other form of commitment. Mate, I suppose my question is: was there anything else out of the Gibberers? Like, have they got some questions?
Yeah, got a couple here to finish. Next one comes from Shano. How are you, Shano? He says, if Riley Smith gets named in TLT, are we willing to take a chance on another cheapie? Riley Smith is the reserve hooker for Para, would mean that he's spelling Brendan Hands. It does look like it's going to be another kind of Owen Paddy minutes share situation. To answer your question, Shano, no, I wouldn't take a chance from the get-go. But like with a Hosking, like with a Tamale, like with Lindsay Smith to a lesser extent, it's just good to know that we have these guys in the chamber that we can move on to if necessary. So, no, to answer your question, I would want to have a look at him for a couple of weeks, mate. Next one here, Boise, Socko. the demon prince of hedonism. It comes from Jesse. Shout out to Jesse, one of the great gibberers. He says, Metcalf truthers, in brackets me. Are we reconsidering the double cheap hooker play now, or just cop the week of a low 5'8" and maybe low hooker? What do you make of that? Are we considering the double cheap hooker play? So I think what he's saying here is like you punt Mamazelis. That would then give you 110K, and then next week you can upgrade Metcalf to Munster. I think that's what he's getting at.
Yeah, who are you upgrading Metcalf to, right? Like your two options of Money or Dill bags. Money obviously coming back from an injury where he couldn't run. He looked decent in that trial versus Cows the other week, but as you and I both know, trial form counts for about 0. I think Dill bags, you're just kind of sitting there going, well, what's with Dill, how does the new Parramatta look? Like, obviously, I think almost everyone's big on Iongi, right? Like, if your flex is an Iongi, and one of your fullbacks is an Iongi, I think you may have missed some of the preseason trials. Probably worth going back and having a look before the season kicks off proper back in Sydney next week. If you can make that move there. But I think for me, I just wonder how, no Gutho, how, new fullback. I wonder how that's going to change Para's shape. I think Zach and Mitch Moses combined add a different element to the scoring style of Parramatta. Probably, more aerial contests out of Moses and Zach there, off the kicking game, off Moses' kicking game. So, look, I'm probably happy to wait and watch and at least see another, obviously round 1 and then round probably 2 out of Dill bags before I'd consider looking up at him. Munster, obviously, great player. The only problem is, it's typically a case of, well, when Hughes goes high, Munster goes low. And, they kind of trade that position every so often. So, for me, look, I'm happy to sit and wait on Metcalf. I still think it's going to take a couple of rounds for the Warriors to get it all together. It seems like they're missing a voice. I'd be concerned if by round 3 or by the end of round 2, if someone hasn't stood up and made a voice, it probably is something where you have to evaluate. I will personally, as I said, probably hold that out. I don't think it's necessarily a good idea to come off Mamo. I think you're trading out an 80-minute hooker for someone that is going to do 20 every week, get 20 minutes, maybe they get 20, 25 points. It doesn't seem like the right move to make this early on, but I suppose it depends on what Luke scores next week for me. What are your thoughts, Reece?
Hold your fire, guys. Hold your fire. I know it's going to be tempting to jump on the old trade machine at 11:01 a.m. on Monday week and send this guy so far into orbit you never see him again. I know it's tempting. We all had the thought today. Some of us even had the thought that they're an idiot for getting me in the first place. Looking at myself there, second-guessing my own second guesses. How much do we love Supercoach? How good is it back? How good is it to have it back? One final comment here is from Grant McCartan. It is regarding Metcalf. He says, take the positives. I've got Metcalf, and my positive is the Warriors get 2 weeks off and they can't play worse. Somewhere in this weekend, we will all cop a couple of poor scores. And that's it, guys. Understand the excitement over the preseason. Understand the excitement of Vegas, the temptation of the roulette table, the smell of the snick in the distance, the glitter of the strip, all of these things. But listen, we can't be disappointed. We have to be happy that footy is back and that we can dribble here for 54 minutes and not really be too sure what we even talked about. So that's all fantastic. We must take the positive, as Grant said. Socko, any final thoughts for us, mate?
Mate, Rugby League is back. Happy Rugby League to one and all. Look, we've got 27 weeks ahead of us, and we're looking forward to riding it all of you with all of you, mate. I know that I'm going to have a sleepless night tonight. I think my missus, who had both McLean and Metcalf today, might be a bit more sleepless than even me. So look, this is Supercoach, guys, and you're not going to win it in round 1. Take a break, trust the process a little bit, trust your decision, reevaluate after round 2.
Hey, you said it best. You're not going to win Supercoach in round 1. And if you think you're going to win Supercoach in round 1, you're not going to win Supercoach. Maybe none of us will win Supercoach ever, but we keep coming back for more because we like the punishment. All the best, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you again soon.
Thanks, guys.